Welcome to episode 3 of the Powerful Pathways Micro podcast. I'm Benny Cara. I'm a former senior leader in education and currently director of Adara Education, a consultancy that supports leaders to be better aware of EDI or DEI or DEIJ, depending on the acronym you use. And I'm joined by my colleague, and I'll let her introduce herself.
My name's Malarvilie Krishnasamy, and I'm a former senior leader as well, and director of Mal CPD consultancy and coaching, supporting leaders in communications and emotional intelligence skills.
Yeah. And I just introduced you as a colleague. I didn't use your name. And this episode is called What's in a Name? Our names have caused us some strife over the years.
Oh,
What
yes.
does your name mean? Say it for us again. What does it mean? How do you say it?
Now, I didn't know that how you say it properly until I was about 10 years old,
Oh,
when I was learning Tamil. And I went to Tamil school on Sundays. So how you say one, and I have to clear my throat. Malar Ree. So
wow.
the last L isn't in English, isn't in many languages.
Okay.
Bearing in mind that Tamil is the oldest known living language.
That's incredible. I didn't know that about you.
So my name is Malaruri. I tend to make it easier for people by saying Malarvili. So it's like a norm, well, an English L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
well, I certainly, when I first met you, you were Mal.
yes, I was Mal from the age of probably about 15 until I moved to Spain 3 years ago. So 15 to 50, I
Yeah.
was Mal. And from even as my childminder called me Mandy, she couldn't say my name. And then I was Malibu, Mally. I was Mally for a good few years at primary
Yeah.
school. Millie Vanilli among some friends.
That's not good.
And like some of the kids, when I was a teacher, would say Christenda Salami instead of Krishna Salami. So, so I've had it all. I've had it all. But what I find really frustrating is that I introduce myself as Malarvili and people call me Mal.
Yeah.
And no, my name's Malarvili. Mal for short.
No.
Because I think for me, it was when I got to Spain, I landed in Spain to move here. And at passport control, the Spanish guy looked at my passport and he went, Malarvili Krishnasamy? And I was like, I almost fell over. I was in complete shock because he just read it and said it. And I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. And I was like, oh, wow. And plus, Mal in Spanish means bad or evil,
Yes.
right? That doesn't help. So when my husband Tim would shout across Mal like that, it was like, it was kind of embarrassing
And
actually.
it's
But
Spanish
also,
people
it's not
panicking all
negative.
around you.
Yeah, it's like, what's bad? What's bad? What's going on?
Yeah.
And so I started introducing myself as Mother Willie, and I had to keep practicing it as well because actually to roll the R is I hadn't spoken Tamil in a long time, so it's every now and then I find it difficult to say my own name because I
Yeah.
have to keep practicing rolling the R's. But the Spanish can say it,
Yeah. Yeah.
they can say it easily. Um, but even recently, a few months ago, I had somebody say, "How do you say your name?" And I say Malarvili, and they went, "Oh, Mindy for short." So, where did that come from? Why?
No,
Why?
making things up.
Why? I was like, no, but you have something for short. No. So
No.
you don't have a nickname? No. But by this point, I was annoyed. Just
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Just say it. Yeah,
Say it.
absolutely.
Just try
I
it.
think it's tricky, isn't it? Because when you have a non-Western name, we often spend our time trying to make other people feel comfortable saying our names. Um, and I
Which is
think
crazy.
It
isn't
is
it?
crazy.
Because it's
You know,
our
in many
name.
ways. Yeah, it's the name that was gifted to me by my parents.
Yeah.
Now, my name is people will probably not know that my name, Benny, is a nickname. And it sounds very Western. And I have to qualify this. I feel like I need to qualify this. My actual name is Bunsey,
Mm.
and it's spelt Bansi. And so I have spent a lifetime correcting people on the pronunciation of that. Banzi, Banzai, Bonsai, Bouncy. That happened a lot as a child. So my name very quickly became a source of embarrassment,
Mm.
particularly when I went out of my cultural context, inner city Leicester with lots of East African Asians, and then suddenly was really like trying to make that first point of contact not awkward with people. Um, and so my nickname, the one I go by now, Benny, sounds like it's a Western name, but it's actually a distortion of a family nickname.
Mm.
My aunt was nicknamed Benna, which means older sister.
Mm.
And I was the eldest of the next generation, so they called me Benny,
Right.
which little sister, I suppose, kind of
Mm.
a sweet thing. And so
Yeah.
that stuck. So, my
Mm.
mum would call me that. Um, but I often think, should I go back to
Mm.
Bunsey, and what would happen
Yeah. Oh
if I
God.
did
I
go
tell
back
you
to
what
Bunsey?
happens. What happens is that awkwardness comes back, and I've got
Yeah,
it back again the last few years. Is that but I've got the confidence now to sort of say, and on even a Zoom session last night, I had to say to somebody that no, my name is Malarvilie, like
yeah,
that, and they're like, oh, sorry, because I've never met them before, but they were just calling me Mal, and
yeah,
it's something that I found, I mean, years ago, probably about 15 years ago, I decided that when I started a new job, I was going to be known as Malarvilie, like
yeah,
that. And within half an hour, everyone was calling me Mal.
yeah, yeah. I
Not
recognize
from
that.
choice,
Yeah,
not from choice at all. And I found it frustrating, and then it was too exhausting to change it. It was like it had already gone too far.
yeah, yeah,
So I think now that I've got my name back, I feel more me. It's more
yeah,
who I am. Instead of apologizing for my background, apologize.
yeah.
Just, when it comes to even CVs, I always used to put Mal Krishnasamy because I thought, oh, if they can say it easier, they might look at my name, my CV. You can't
Yeah.
help that going through your mind. I mean, you looked at, did you say you looked at research?
I did, yeah. I
Yeah,
was looking
yeah.
at, what are the most common names for
Mm,
CEOs globally, and the male ones are fairly predictable and
mm,
interestingly really short. So the research
mm.
shows in rank order that the most common names for male chief executives are Peter, Bob, Jack, Bruce, Fred, Bill, Ron, Christian, Alexander, and Don. Very punchy, very kind
Yeah,
of, and I think we associate that punchiness with power,
yeah,
that
yeah,
like brand. It's he's just Ron. Um,
yeah.
she's just Muncie, doesn't really like she doesn't it doesn't roll off the tongue in the same way
That's
because
it.
we're so used to um, you know, the kind of what male Western CEO names are. Women
Mm,
tend to have multi-syllables according to the same research. Deborah, Sally, uh, Cynthia, Carolyn, Pamela, Anne, which is quite short, Cheryl, Linda, and Janet. So multi-syllable.
yeah,
But I wonder actually if Janet introduces herself, somebody would immediately shorten her name to Jan.
yeah,
It doesn't happen.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. My name means flute. I knew the meaning of my name. Bunsi means flute. It's the flute that Lord Krishna in Hindu
Ah,
cosmology plays. It's often a
yeah.
bunsi or a bunsi. And I'm almost ashamed that I kind of rejected it so early, but I was very much like Anne of Green Gables as a child. Like, can you call me Cordelia?
Punchy.
That's not my name. But it has become more important to me. Like even with
Yeah.
Ben, people get it wrong.
Mm,
I'm often introduced as Bernie because people see two N's and see an R and an N. It's not even typed. Um,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
Bernie happens, Beanie happens.
Beanie, Beanie.
I'm like, that's not a serious name, guys. I'm a
Yeah,
serious person. But it's tricky because it's that first thing when but people first meet you, they want to know how to connect with you, and your name is often
yeah,
that first thing. And I think
yeah,
in leadership, your name denotes your status.
yeah.
So
Again, it's internal and external, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
So internally, like you want to make it as easy as possible for other people, but why should you? It's your name. And
yeah, yeah.
externally, people can't be bothered.
No, I know.
That's
It's
the thing.
singularly frustrating, obviously, if they get it wrong verbally. But when you write your own name in an email and then somebody spells it incorrectly in their reply, I mean, that
Mm,
just denotes a lack of care, a lack
yeah,
of attention to detail, which I
yeah.
find very, very frustrating.
Mm,
Um, the other thing with my name, obviously, because my surname is Kara with a K,
mm.
um, everybody assumes that it's the other way around. So whenever I sign
Oh,
up to anything or go like have an appointment, they'll often call me Cara Bansi. And it's like that, no, look at the form
yeah,
again. You know,
yeah. Whereas
it,
I get the even as a kid, people used to suddenly put a W in there, Krishna Swami, and I'm like,
oh,
it's
really?
not in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what's I tell you what's interesting because like with surnames in the culture I come from, my surname is was my dad's first name,
right, okay.
but his name was actually Krishna.
Hmm.
The British added the Sami to his passport when he came over.
What's the Sami denote?
It means God,
Oh, right, okay.
so it's God, God.
Nice.
Yeah, God, God.
So actually,
So
you're
it's difficult.
Malarvilie God God.
Yeah, I mean, on my birth certificate, it actually says Maladvili Krishnasamy Rajian. So Rajian was my granddad's name. So
Right.
my dad's real name was Krishna Rajian, but because of the mix-up in, my dad's English wasn't great in
Yeah, yeah.
1973, and so it ended up with me having a different surname to everyone else.
Right, okay.
So, but I've put that Rajian into our kids' names.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we all have that as a middle name. And my husband's taken it when we got married as well.
Oh, that's
So
really
we've
nice.
all got it. Yeah, so we've all got it.
So
Yeah.
I did not take my partner's name when we got married. It was like, no, I've spent enough years trying to explain
Yeah.
this one. I'm not going to try and add another one in and
Oh.
hyphenated or not hyphenated. But my grandparents had a similar story in that
Mm.
the Kara was not a typical surname of people of my caste. We're talking about caste
Oh,
culture in
oh God.
Indian
Yeah.
on the Indian subcontinent.
Mm.
We were Butneys, which was part of the Sunni caste, was Goldsmith caste. And so it's
Mm.
quite unusual, Kara, as a surname for East African Asian people. But there's a
Mm.
suggestion that because my granddad was quite dark-skinned, that it was his nickname, Kara meaning black.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a common surname in Turkey, so people assume that I'm Turkish. So it's the assumptions that come with your
Ugh.
name, how
Well,
it's,
I get people
you know,
assume I'm from Sri Lanka.
yes, yeah, yeah,
That all Tamils come from Sri Lanka. Many
yeah,
people,
yeah,
the people assume that, and
yeah,
I'm like, no. No. There's a huge diaspora
yeah,
of,
absolutely.
Tamils in South India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, and
Mhm.
further on, but huge communities in those areas. I mean, like my name would be quite common in South India.
Yeah, yeah.